This is Red Podcast, episode number 235. Got 3 ways that you can make more money. Lessons from a door-to-door salesman. That's coming up.
This is the Red Podcast. How to reach more people, establish your authority, and deliver your message. Here's your host, David Hooper.
I live in an urban neighborhood. Houses are close together. There's population density. In the front of my house, there's a sidewalk. And that combination is perfect for people who want to sell products, they want to sell services, they want to sell religion and other ideas. In the last month, knocking on my door, there have been Mormons, Jehovah's Witnesses, kids selling stuff, and also a guy who hangs around the neighborhood doing various yard work. Here's what that sounds like.
You come right down the steps.
No, dude, you knew I was coming.
You knew I was coming.
I'm on my way out. I was wondering where you were. I was wondering how you doing.
I'm doing fine, man. I was sick for a couple of days, man. I had to get over it.
Yeah.
Fight it out and sweat it out.
You know this guy. He's been on Red Podcast before. Always coming around. Always has a deal. In fact, on episode 221, it was Christmas Eve. I was having a nice evening with my wife. And this guy shows up trying to sell me trinkets. If you want to hear that recording, redpodcast.com/221. I didn't need trinkets, but this time when he showed up, I did need what he was selling, which was yard work. I needed some rose bushes trimmed. I needed some weeding. So I made a deal with him. Quick word on this guy before I get started. He's a neighborhood guy. He's been around. Basically, he was working a straight job, but he lost it. So he decided to start his own thing. And there are 3 big lessons on how he did this. They're so simple that you might miss them. A lot of people, they write him off. In fact, I've actually gotten a lot of feedback from when he's been on the podcast before. One is because it's a hidden recording. Anybody who knocks on my door, you're going to get recorded. I like to hear the pitches that people give me because I want to analyze them, see if there's great marketing lessons within them. And sometimes it's great content for the podcast. So that's part of it. It's a hidden recording. And I think because of that hidden element of this, some listeners think that maybe I'm making fun of people. Maybe I'm trying to get them in a weird position, like some kind of Geraldo hidden camera type situation. Absolutely not. I respect anybody who wants to work and provide value, and this guy absolutely is. He's actually pretty smart. He's got a pretty good business going. There's some lessons in here for you. Lessons how you can get new clients, lessons how you can keep your existing clients, and also how you can charge premium prices to your clients. This is the Red Podcast, the podcast for experts. If you want to make more money with your specialized knowledge, if you've got a message that you want to spread and make people care about, this is the podcast for you. Door-to-door sales has a long history in this country. And you don't see door-to-door salesmen like you used to. If you talk to older people, maybe your grandparents, great-grandparents, if they're still around, door-to-door salesmen were the foundation of how things got sold in this country. You know, one of the biggest successes of door-to-door salesmen, Jell-O. That sweet, sweet fruit-flavored chemical that everybody loves. I loved it. You know what I hated? When people put real fruit in it. And you know why people started to put real fruit in it? Because of door-to-door salesmen. People didn't know what Jell-O was. They know now, but back in the day, you had to explain it to them. So the door-to-door salesmen who were selling Jell-O, they would give recipe books. And one of those recipes was making Jell-O and putting fruit in it. Used to hate it. David, you want some Jell-O? Oh yeah, I love Jell-O. Had real fruit in it. Ugh, barf. Don't mix my chemical fruit with my real fruit. That's how products used to get sold. These days, if you've got a presentation, you want to show people how something works, educate them on what something is, you can go on YouTube, Facebook Live, do a video of it. You don't have to do a recipe book, just do a cooking show. Video is a great way to sell product, but here's the problem. Video, at least custom video, it's expensive. Sure, everybody's got a video camera, iPhone, Android in their pocket. You can make a video, but that doesn't mean it's any good. So what do you do if you want a good-looking video? You don't want to spend a lot of money. You go to Video Blocks. You get studio quality stock for a fraction of the cost of custom footage with Video Blocks. Download all the stock video footage your heart desires from the member area, including HD footage, After Effects templates, motion backgrounds, and more. This stuff isn't just good for YouTube. It's not just good for Facebook Live. It's good for your live presentations. It's good for a background of your website. Videoblocks.com/red. If you go there right now, there's a free trial. If you choose to stay, just $149 a year. Download all you want. It's royalty-free. $149 a year. Never have to pay a dime in royalties. New clips are added on a regular basis, so there's always something fresh to download. Go to videoblocks.com/red to check it out. You'll be glad you did. Give your video that professional boost you're looking for. Videoblocks.com/red. So my guy comes over, knocks on the door. We do the deal. The deal, by the way, $100 for him to do some basic weeding, trim some rose bushes. Took him about 2 hours. And I want you to think about starting your own thing, even if you've got something going now. It's my opinion that we're always starting. We're always going into new markets. We're always developing new products. We're always starting. In the music business, we used to have this saying. We'd say, you're only as good as your last hit. You could have a #1 song all across the country. Yeah, you got a little goodwill from that song. People know who you are. Maybe you've got some contacts that you can rely on. But in a way, you're always starting over. Once you have success, it's never guaranteed that you're going to have that same amount of success again. So I want you to think about this as I go through these 3 lessons. The big lesson #1, start where you are. We're having a conversation about how he got started. Basically went to the people that he knew. Well, he's on the street.
Yeah, right there.
Oh, you know those guys you talking about?
Yeah. Sometime he called me to work with him.
Yeah. You know all these dudes around here. How long you go back?
I've been out here for 35, 40 years. I know everybody.
You know?
Yes. Down the street. Yeah, I know everybody.
Yeah.
Most of the folks anyway.
If you look at somebody who's having success in business, one of the things that you'll notice is they are in a market that they understand. Me, for example, when I started my marketing career, I started in the music business. Why was that? Because I was a musician, because I grew up in Nashville, because I understood musicians. Now that I've become more established in marketing, I've branched out. Soft drink brands, telecommunications companies, clothing companies, podcasters, broadcasters, experts like you. But you got to start where you are. You know the language, you know the rituals, you know all the little things that an outsider won't know. And because of that, you've got trust, you've got better communication. People understand you and you understand them because you can speak the same language. And you can also get more money. We want specialists. We don't want jack of all trades. This is counterintuitive for a lot of people, something that I definitely see happening a lot. For example, you're an expert in the speaking business. That's the main way that you make your money. So I'll speak about anything. You got somebody who really wants a gig, so he'll speak about anything. Real estate, Bitcoin, politics, a general humorous speech, a general motivational speech, anything you want, I'm going to get up there and deliver it to you. People want a specialist. Let's take it back to real estate. If you're wanting somebody at your real estate conference to talk about real estate, don't you want a specialist there? Let's think like a buyer for a minute. If you've got a real estate conference, are you going to go for the general guy who last week was talking about Bitcoins and the week before that was giving a general motivational speech? Are you going to go for that guy? Or are you going to go for a real estate specialist who can talk about mortgages, who can talk about financing, who can talk about buying and selling and dealing with banks and all the things that you need to know to be successful in the real estate business? You want a specialist. There's probably something that you already specialize in. If nothing else, dance with the one that brung you. And there's a lot of ways to do that. My guy who's doing my lawn work, he's a specialist in that he's from the neighborhood. He knows everybody in the neighborhood. And because he knows everybody in the neighborhood, not only does he have a feel of the neighborhood, but those people are vouching for him. Yeah, man, I know that guy. He's cool. That's one of the ways to dance with the one that brung you, geography, but it's also the business that you're already in. It could be the religion that you've got. When I was at the Religious Broadcasters Conference, there were 2 types of businesses there. One of them was making money. The other one, not so much. They were being ignored. And the difference, it wasn't the service or the product that those people were providing. It was that they were religious or they were secular. In this market, buyers were looking for somebody from the same tribe. I was talking to her about her equipment she was using. Most radio broadcasters, we go to a place called BSW. And I mentioned this to her. I said, you can probably save a little money going to BSW. And her answer, well, BSW wouldn't pray with me. She was working with a guy, a small reseller, probably buying from BSW and then marking the prices up, who knew how to talk her language. She wanted somebody to pray with her so she would feel better about the message she was delivering, feel that she was going to have more success with it. That's dancing with the one that brung you. That's understanding your audience, speaking their language, following their rituals. Basically what it is a shared experience. It's like traveling across the country, running into a random stranger, and he's from your same hometown. Oh, you're from my town? What high school did you go to? Where did you live? Oh, man, that's a great neighborhood. You know this kind of conversations. That's what you want to bring to your business. And again, the different ways of doing it, there's geography, there's religion or another belief system, and there's also specialization. Big lesson number 2. This guy started out working with the people that he knew and used that to get a foothold on the people that he didn't know, aka rich white people moving in. Here's a clip of us talking about the changing neighborhood.
It's changing, man.
Yeah, new folks slowly coming in. Them the ones I don't know.
Yeah. Well, they know you because you're knocking on the door.
Yeah, I get to know them. Can I do something for you? That's how I got you or somebody else.
This one's big. Got to get out of your comfort zone. Can't keep working with people that you know if you want to expand. You need to leverage those people to go to the people that you don't know. And if you don't get it the first time, you got to keep coming back. This guy probably knocked on my door 5 or 6 times before I said yes to him. Hired him 3 or 4 times. He comes around. Sometimes I want to work with him. Sometimes I don't. It's timing, my timing, not his. And that's how it is with your clients. You can't take a no personally. I've got a big live event coming up, reaching out to some people to come to it. Some people can't make it. The timing's not right. They can't get to Nashville. Okay, I'll get you on the next one. Can't take it personally. When you start taking it personally, that's when it becomes a big rift. That's when you lose all future business. You just write people off. Oh, he didn't support me? Fuck him. Never going back to him again. Don't do it. Keep going back. Don't take it personally. It's just timing. It's got to be on their time, not yours. Big lesson number 3. This is huge. There's so much talk in business. There's so many plans. People got big plans. I'm here in Music City, USA. How many musicians do you think show up at the Greyhound station, at the airport, in their cars with big dreams? They want a record deal. They want to be a songwriter. They want to be famous. And what is the first thing that those people do? They start going to record labels, publishing companies, music executives. Hey, I got a big dream. I want a record deal. I want a publishing deal. I want to be famous. The answer that you're going to hear, and it's not done in this way, is come back. Come back. You're not ready. And what they mean by that, not only from a talent perspective, because sometimes the talent isn't ready, but people want to see that you're serious. People want to see that you're working. They need to see that you're more than just talk. Here's a clip that I think explains this so well.
To get recognized, folks got to see you doing this stuff.
Yeah.
Because some folks knock on your door, they might be playing a game or something.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? But they say, well, y'all see the guy cutting grass all the time. He's doing something and he's making it look good. I'm going to let him do my yard next time I see him.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's how you get recognized.
Yeah.
That's all I'm doing.
On the last episode 234, I talked about John Acuff's new book. It's called Finish. If you want to hear that episode, redpodcast.com/234. Here's what you may not know about this book. It's outselling his previous book. It was a good book, Do Over. This one's selling more. This book just hit the Wall Street Journal list for the 3rd week in a row. It's only 3 weeks old. 3 weeks on the Wall Street Journal bestseller list. More momentum than any of John's previous books. How is he doing that? He's recognized. He's out there working. Almost every week, he's in a different city, giving a presentation to a live audience. He's on Facebook. He's on Twitter. He's on Instagram. He's making videos. He's sending out emails. He's recognized. He's more established now than he was with his previous books. I talked about it at the beginning of this episode. You can't just expect to start and have the success of somebody who's already established. You have to be seen. People have to know that you're serious. People have to see that you're working. That momentum is contagious. Once you've got that train rolling, people love to jump on there with you. Hey, here's a bonus lesson. I'm going to let you in on something personal, kind of. When this guy finished the job for me, I went inside to get money for him, and I talked for a second with my wife. This clip starts out with her. And this guy is so loud, I don't know if you can hear this from the recording, that she thought there might have been a problem. That's what we're talking about on the first part of this conversation. Then, very quickly into the conversation, we got interrupted by two kids. They ran up to the door trying to sell me the exact same thing. Check this out.
Sounded like there was a problem.
No. No, we're all good.
Yeah.
But it's making it easy.
No, please. No, please. You bought his last year. No, I did not. You bought his last year. I got here first.
This is my connection. That's my connection. That's my connection, man.
What?
That's my connection.
You bought cookies. He gives you cookies. You bought. Oh my gosh.
Sorry. That's my connection. How you doing, man?
How you doing, my man?
You know this guy. How much?
Oh, 25 like always.
$25. Are you taking checks?
Yeah, check or cash.
Let me explain that clip. I buy a lot from these kids. They're always selling some kind of fundraisers. Sometimes they bake cookies and sell them. And I like cookies, but I'm also trying to support entrepreneurship. If you come to my door, I'm not going to give you money for a charity a lot of times, especially for a charity that I don't know. But if you are providing a service such as weed pulling, such as trimming the rose bushes, or you're providing a product, I'm going to buy from you. So that's what he's talking about. He's basically saying, hey, man, he buys cookies from you. I'm his coupon guy. This is what I've been talking about. Once you buy from somebody, you're more likely to buy from them again. You trust that you're going to get the product. You trust the service is going to be what you think that it's going to be. I've got the older guy that I bought from last year. I've got the younger guy who's new to the school. And the younger kid flipped, ran off my porch, threw a temper tantrum. And these two kids are in my neighborhood. I see them a lot. And I want to have good relations with the people in my neighborhood. So I asked the older kid about it. Here's what he said.
Yeah, he's just going to be mad for like 2 minutes.
You see that, man?
This kind of put me in a predicament because, as I mentioned, I'm trying to keep a good relation with the people in my neighborhood. I want to be somebody who adds something to the neighborhood, and that includes supporting the kids within the neighborhood, showing them entrepreneurship, showing them when they knock on doors, yeah, they might have had some no's, but sometimes people are going to say yes. I want to encourage that. So I was in a predicament. This guy seemed really pissed. And it made me think of a music business story. This is a great story. Famous musician. He needs a drummer. And this guy, his genre, let's call it math rock. It's pretty complicated. It's jazzy. It's not just the basic 4 on the floor beat. It's not like a rock musician. This guy was complicated. He was dealing with musicians that were very, very good. They could read music. They could play all sorts of different types of time signatures, different types of styles. And he calls this guy, he's a drummer, says, hey man, I'd like you to audition for my new band. We need a drummer, and I've heard good things about you. And this musician, the guy who's holding the audition, he's a legend. It would be an honor to play for him. And once you played for him, you'd have that reputation that you could build upon. So the drummer goes to the rehearsal studio. Rehearsal studio, to describe it, it's pretty much a plain room. It's got soundproofing. It's got a lot of amps, staging, mics. This is where people get ready to either do an album or to go on tour. He brings in his drum kit, sets it up, and the famous musician, the guy who's doing the audition, said, all right, the signature 4/4 time, 60 beats per minute, 1 beat per second. And I want you to keep playing that until I say stop. The guy says, okay. Figured they were trying to get a sound. Sometimes they'll do that when they're miking up the drums. Sometimes the engineer wants that. Bang, bang, bang. Beat that drum. Engineer will tweak something where it gets the sound that he wants on the tape if they're recording something. That wasn't happening here, though. This was a live audition. It wasn't being recorded. So it's kind of a strange request. The guy's like, well, this guy who's auditioning me, he's kind of eccentric. So he just starts playing. You're not going to argue with the guy, right? You're trying to get a job with him. Bam, 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 bam. 60 beats a minute, keeps going. Doesn't stop. Because he said, play till I tell you to stop. So he keeps going. Goes on for about 10 or 15 minutes. The famous musician says, all right, you can stop. Thank you. The audition is over. We got what we need. We're going to go with somebody else. And that's it. Drummer walks out. They pack up his stuff. He goes back to the hotel room. He's calling his mother. I guess it didn't work out. The weirdest audition. He just had me bang quarter notes out, 60 beats a minute. Just then, call comes in on the other line. It's the famous musician. Said, all right, you're hired. I just wanted to see how you handled rejection. What the hell? That was the weirdest audition I've ever been to. So yeah, man, we already knew you were a good drummer. We've already seen you. We wouldn't have called you in if we didn't want you. But I needed to see how you handled rejection because that's going to be a big part of this. We want to see how you react in certain situations, and that was it. We want to see your mindset, your mentality. So that was the audition. It wasn't drums at all. It was how he handled rejection. So that's the bonus lesson. Handle rejection well. If you're curious about what happened with the kid, I saw those two kids walking by later on that afternoon, and I started to think about it. I said, maybe I could actually use a second one of these books because use a couple coupons from them. They're paying for themselves. And the kid's in 7th grade. Can't expect him to be perfect. And maybe he'll get something out of this. I'm not going to sit there and wag my finger at him and say, see, you need to handle rejection better. You never know when it's going to come through. I didn't put anything on it like that. I just say, hey, man, I thought about it. I might be able to use a second one of those. So if they're still for sale, let me grab one. He was excited. He actually delivered it before the first kid. That was something he had going for him. The kid didn't do it. It worked out for him. But don't let that be an excuse for you. Handle your rejection well. This stuff is so foundational. It's so simple, anybody can do it. But at the same time, it's so simple that it often gets overlooked. It gets ignored. It's easy not to do it as well. It's always the little things that get us. Even the biggest businesses in the world, they're built on these tiny little decisions. They add up. Coming up, I teased this a little bit earlier, talked about that live event that I have coming up in Nashville. It's podcast focused. It focuses on 2 things. 1, creating a podcast people want to listen to. And 2, how to market your podcast. If you don't have anything people want to listen to, all the marketing in the world is not going to help you. It's actually going to hurt you because more people are going to hear your podcast sooner before it's ready for them to hear it. But at the same time, you can have the best podcast in the world, and if nobody's hearing it, it might as well not exist. And that's depressing as hell. So I'm doing an event. With me on the stage will be comic and writer Rick Roberts. We're talking about the things that you need to be a better host, to be a better guest, to come up with great content ideas that are interesting to people and that they want to listen to. If you're interested in that, bigpodcast.com has all the details. Bigpodcast.com. Next up on Red, if you haven't downloaded my 10 commandments for entrepreneurs, what I call the Red Rules, you need to do it. redpodcast.com/rules. One of them is fly your flag. I love those entrepreneurs who aren't afraid to go out into the world, say, this is who I am, plant the flag. These people are shameless. They are who they are, and they don't apologize. I love those people. And I found one. The next episode, I'm going to talk to her. She's a woman who's doing just that, and you'll never believe how. Just as a word of warning, it might make you blush. And at the very least, it's going to be a little awkward if you listen to Red Podcast with your kids. Don't let the kids listen to this next episode unless you're open to having an awkward conversation. You've been warned. To make sure you don't miss it, go to redpodcast.com. In the top left, there are 4 buttons. Pick one of them. This is how you subscribe. If you're on Android, you've got an iPhone, you listen via the web. However you get your podcast, 1 click is all it takes to subscribe. Go there now before you forget. redpodcast.com, top left. You'll never miss an episode. If you got questions or comments, reach out to me at David Hooper on Twitter. It's the best way to get me. I'll see you on the next episode. And if you're interested in creating a podcast that people want to listen to and learning how to market it, go to bigpodcast.com. I'll see you live in Nashville, Tennessee. Either way, I'll see you soon. Thanks for listening. Have a great one.
You've been listening to Red Podcast. Never miss an episode. Subscribe now with your iPhone, Android, or via RSS at redpodcast.com.
Jell-O, that crazy fruit-flavored chemical gelatin that we all love. That sweet, sweet fruit-flavored. Threw a temper tantrum. Ran off my porch. Threw a temper tantrum. Temper tantrum. Damn it.
Thank you, man.
Appreciate you, my man.
All right. We'll talk soon.
David, you want some Jell-O? Oh, yeah. I love Jell-O. Had real fruit in it. Ugh, barf. Don't mix my chemical fruit with my real fruit.